Hey everyone, welcome. We're going to be about 5 minutes, so sit tight and we'll be right with you. Hey everyone, just 2-3 more minutes. We got a bunch of people joining. I just want to give them a couple minutes to get settled and we'll be right with you. Hey everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ken Zwerdling. We are live We are live from Greenville, South Carolina. We have people from all over the country and all over the world joining us today. I'm really, really excited about presenting this workshop. I want to make sure before we get started that our technology is working. So please type in the chat, 1, that you can hear me, 2, that you can see me. And also, I'm really interested to know where everybody is calling in from. So please type in the chat that you can hear me okay before I move forward. I just want to make sure all the tech is working. Excellent. Yes and yes. Where's everybody calling from? Let's see. Paris, France. Charlotte, North Carolina. Detroit, Michigan. India. Naples, Florida. Birmingham. Tampa Bay. London, England. San Francisco. Philadelphia, Texas. Brazil. New Jersey, Raleigh, North Carolina. Cheers from Germany. Hey, Frank from Germany. Hannah from Ukraine. Chris from Germany. Excellent, excellent. The Netherlands, South Africa. This is truly, truly a global call. Ontario, Canada. Sarah from San Fran. Excellent, excellent. Okay. So we've got a lot to cover today. I want to go over a little housekeeping. So there's going to be a recording available within a few hours after the live presentation. We're live, but there'll be a recording. So if you missed something, I want you to go back and watch it. It's going to be available over the next several days. If you have any questions, type it in the chat during the presentation, right? And we will go over all of the questions at the end of the presentation. I really encourage you all to stay until the end. I'm going to be making this really great white paper available. Does your resume pass the 10-second test? Did you know that 95% of resumes don't make it past 10 seconds? This is an excellent white paper to make sure you get past 10 seconds and get in the top 5%. I urge everyone, really honestly, shut everything down, put your phone on mute, and for the next 60 minutes, don't multitask. We're going to cover a lot of information. So it's really, really important that you all pay attention. So, okay, so here we go. Let's share my slides. Okay, so, you know, in the past 7 or 8 months, I've really been on the front lines of job search, speaking and working with job seekers all around the country and all around the world. People are struggling. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. People are struggling. There's a lot of uncertainty, both in the near term and in the long term. The market is tough. The job market is tough. But honestly, it's not all doom and gloom. 3 of my clients have gotten job offers in the last 2 weeks. 4 of them have got invited to interview. So there's activity going on. So let's talk a little bit about me. I'm Ken Zwerdling. I was born in New York, born in the Bronx, actually. So I'm a New York Yankees fan. I'm an avid water sports guy. I've been involved in job search probably for 30 plus years, and I've helped hundreds of people all over the world find and transition into their next roles. I've personally been on over 100 interviews. I've hired hundreds of people. I've placed hundreds more around the world as a global recruiter, and I've personally reviewed over 500,000 resumes. I am currently the founder and CEO of Global Expansion. We are a career and job search coaching, outplacement, and career transition firm. So I want to make sure that everybody knows that they're in the right place. Who is this workshop for? There are multiple kinds of job seekers right now. You might have been recently laid off from your job, or you're currently employed, but you're looking for a new position. Or you think, with all the uncertainty in the economy and the pandemic, you might lose your job in the coming months. I know there's a lot of people who have been out of work for quite some time. I mean, the goal is to get them back to work as soon as possible. And then many of you actually may even be looking for remote work. So this workshop is for all of you. Just to go over a little bit about my background and experience. When I first started looking for a job in 1984 in New York, there was no internet, there were no personal computers, there was no monster.com. We had to look for jobs in the New York Times Classified. I got a bachelor's degree in business administration with a focus on finance and economics. My first job was as a travel and entertainment accountant at Goldman Sachs in New York. I made $12,000 a year. I traveled an hour and 45 minutes each way every day on 2 trains and a subway. That was my first job. I then was a financial analyst for a publishing company. I was a controller for a global architecture and engineering firm. I was the manager of finance for a global logistics and transportation company. And then I actually went back to school part-time, 2.5 years, got my master's degree in finance and entrepreneurship. And in the last 20 years, I founded and grew 3 global companies, including my current company, Global Expansion. So in today's workshop, I'm going to talk about the current state of the global job market. Challenges facing job seekers. We're all facing challenges every single day. How to develop a comprehensive job search strategy. The top 3 secrets in finding a new job. Where are the new jobs and how do you find them? Top things you can do right now to jumpstart your search. I want to talk a lot about remote work today and what that means. And at the end of the presentation, we're going to have some live Q&A. Okay. Oh, also, so I want you all to stay to the end. You're going to get the latest white paper. Does your resume pass the 10-second test? Okay. State of the current job market. In the last 8 or 9 months, just in the United States alone, 60 million something people have lost their jobs. And around the world, tens of millions more. Some of these people have been hired back. Some of them are on furlough. Many of them were let go without severance. Some are in automotive, airlines, travel, hospitality, oil and gas. I mean, they're struggling. It's picking up, but we're going to hover on this bottom for quite some time. We may have some starts and stops and starts and stops. This next bullet, people were getting government assistance. And in America, we get a certain type of government assistance. In other countries, there's other types of assistance. There's unemployment. Many people's unemployment either have run out or will run out by the end of this month. The United States government, honestly, has still not gotten their act together to come up with another stimulus plan to help the people get over the hump and extend their benefits. So this is a massive uncertainty. And people are going to have trouble making rent. Then you factor in the pandemic, right? So we all know what's going on. The virus is spiking in multiple cities, multiple states, multiple countries. We don't know where the bottom is. We know things are coming. We know vaccines are coming. But this spiking has a ripple effect across the economy, across the job market, across political systems. In the United States, we have 50 independent policies. We don't have a national policy. So it is going to get better, but it's getting worse before it gets better. So what is the outlook on jobs? So jobs are kind of interrelated to everything else going on. The government subsidies, the pandemic, the political situation in our country. Schools are kind of in, a hybrid approach. Some are in person, some are fully remote, some are half remote, half in person. Some parents are just keeping their kids home. We have, in this country, we have between Thanksgiving and Christmas, people are starting to come on break. Some schools are not going back to school until January, and we don't know if school's going to be remote starting in January. So if more and more kids are going to be at home, the parents need to be home. And then the companies need to be able to hire and manage and support remote workers. So if you're a job seeker right now, it's important to really take two types of approaches, okay? You got to take a short-term approach and a long-term approach. So what do I mean by that? Okay. If you're out of work or if you're looking for work, we're trying to get a job tomorrow, but we may not be able to get our dream job tomorrow. If you're in, again, travel, hospitality, airlines, oil and gas, and many other industries, your jobs or the jobs that you are seeking or your dream job may not come back for a year. So what do you do between now and a year from now? You got to take a short-term approach. What can I do to get me over the hump until things turn around? Things are turning around. There are vaccines coming. People will get back to work. Things will get back to normal. But you got to do something now to get you over that hump. And that may mean part-time, contract, temp work. Use your skill in doing spreadsheets or graphic design or speaking, something to get you over the hump while you're looking. What's been happening up until about 3-4 weeks ago is there was a lot of uncertainty by employers. Is there going to be another lockdown? Are we going to have layoffs? How are my earnings going to be affected? Are we going to hire back some of these people that we let go? So they were trying to figure out what to do. And in doing so, because of the uncertainty, they were doing nothing. So just in the last 3 or 4 weeks, there were certain unknowns that are now known. What are the unknowns? We know who the next president of the United States is going to be. We know it's coming in a month or so. We know that the policies, the government assistance, the approach to the pandemic is all changing. We also know that vaccines are coming. So if vaccines are coming, more and more people can go back to work. We can go out to restaurants and bars and shops. So those two things that were unknown are now known, and it's affecting the job market. I do see companies are hiring. So there's all this economic data out there. There's a lot of information, misinformation, disinformation. I kind of look at my own data points, right? And my data points are companies posting new jobs? Are they hiring? And the answer is yes. I see this every day on the different job boards and on the different companies' career pages. New jobs are being posted every single day. If they were not, I would really be concerned. But they are hiring. My clients are getting job offers. My clients are getting interviews. We're seeing jobs. We're physically applying. So there is activity. Looking for a job has its ups, downs, challenges. You know, the best call I get that I like the most is when one of my clients calls me and says, Ken, I just got a new job. I can't tell you how great that makes me feel. You know, they put in the work, they put the pieces together, they went through the process and got a job offer, even in this economy. It's because they overcame some of these challenges that exist basically to all job seekers every day right now. So let's go over some of these challenges, right? Challenge number one, I don't know how to get started. You know, everybody thinks that, well, I have a resume, I can start looking for work. I mean, that's true, but your resume is really just one piece. The best place to start is with your resume to make sure it describes who you are, what you've done, and what you're looking to do. Formulating a strategy on presenting yourself, finding opportunities, physically applying, doing company research, preparing for interviews, etc. It can be overwhelming. And thinking it's too complicated to put a comprehensive search together. It's not. You just got to start with the first piece. And that first piece is your resume. Okay, the second challenge. People are not taking comprehensive approaches. You know, I use that word a lot, comprehensive, right? All-encompassing. What does that mean? That means there are so many pieces to a job search. And all of these pieces are not independent of each other. All of these pieces work together in sequence that build upon each other. A comprehensive job search. Resumes, cover letters, job board registrations, customized alerts, and LinkedIn profile. Those are the foundational pieces of a successful job search. Anything other than that, you're either not going to see enough jobs to apply to, you're not going to get interviews, you're not going to have people find you on the job boards. You have to take a comprehensive approach, especially in this market, right? Challenge number three, your resume is outdated. You know, people call it a resume, people call it a CV. I call it a mini biography. It's a document that describes everything there is to know about you from a work perspective. Roles, responsibilities, accomplishments, achievements, quantifiable, measurable metrics, a professional summary that summarizes your entire career in 2 paragraphs, specific skills, education, training, certification, technology. It's a document that needs to speak for you when you can't speak for it. And that's the goal. The goal of a resume is to get an interview, and that the person reading it doesn't have any questions or is not confused. Remember, 95% of resumes don't make it past 10 seconds. And it's for this exact reason. It's not telling your best story. Okay, challenge number 4. I talk to people all the time from all over the world. I'm sending out resumes. I'm sending out dozens. I'm sending out hundreds, right? And they're not getting results. They're not getting interviews. And I get it. It's totally frustrating. Why am I not getting? So there's a couple reasons. I mean, the main reason, if you're sending out all these resumes and filling out all these job applications and you're not getting a response, the problem is not you, it's your resume. It gets back to the basic fundamental components of a resume. They can't figure out who you are, what you've done, and what you're looking for, and accurately describing everything in your history. If this is you, you need to go back and fix your resume. Because if you have a resume that encompasses all of these things, it flows through to the rest of your job search. If your resume is awful, your entire job search is going to be awful. You're not getting enough invitations to interview. So remember, the goal of the resume is to get an interview. In this economy, I talk to people who said, I applied to, a couple of positions here and a couple of positions there. You need to be applying to not dozens, but hundreds. You have to be aggressive. You need to apply to 20, 30 positions a day. I know some of you are saying, well, there's not 20 or 30 positions I can apply to every day. Yes, there is, if you're looking in the right place. So the more positions you see, the more positions you can apply to. The more positions you apply to, the more interviews you get. The more interviews you get, the more second interviews you get, and the more job offers you get. So you can see, right? You can see the flow of the process. If you're not getting enough interviews, you're either not applying to enough jobs, or again, number 6, you're not making it past the phone interview. So interviews today take many different forms. Phone interview, in-person interview, Zoom interview, panel interviews. Most people do not prepare correctly for these interviews. Okay, if you're not making it past the phone interview, it's for a couple of reasons. One, you didn't accurately prepare, and number 2, you're treating a phone interview like an in-person interview, which you cannot do. So most phone interviews, especially in this economy, people are not coming in for in-person interviews, are screening tools, and they're conducted by lower level HR generalists. And if I'm that HR person, I've got the job description open in one hand, I've got your resume open in another hand, and I'm checking the boxes. Ken's got this, Key's got this, he's got this. Okay, the goal of the phone interview is to get the interview with the hiring manager. Most phone interviews are 30 minutes. 30 minutes is not a lot of time, and too many people focus on the wrong stuff in that 30 minutes, and you don't have a chance to get everything you need to do to get across. You are not getting hired based upon the 30-minute phone interview. You have to look at it as, I got to make it past this HR person to get to the hiring manager. So if you're not making it past the phone interview, take a step back and say, well, I'm focusing on the wrong stuff. The person who's interviewing me is not interested in all this stuff. They want to know that I can do the job, that I understand the job description, and I have experience related to the job description. If you do that, and of course, prepare about the company, its products and its services, and do some detective work on the person that's going to be interviewing you. Challenge number 7. I hear this over and over again. I'm not seeing enough positions to apply to. So job postings can take many forms, and they can appear in many different places. The job boards, are a necessary evil, but the job boards serve multiple purposes. The first purpose is to be found. Companies are looking for you. Can they find you? Also, there are alerts that you can set up. LinkedIn is great. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I have 11,000 connections. I have 3,000 HR connections. But it's not the only place. Some companies don't post job openings on LinkedIn. It's the most expensive place for a company to post a job. There's all these other boards, and you have to be on average on 5 or 6 of them. There are dozens and if not hundreds, especially internationally. There are so many job boards, but some companies only post on one. So if you're only on one, you're missing what's on the other. Some people may only post on Indeed. Some may only post on ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, Monster, Career Builder. It's free as a job applicant to register, right? But you got to be on all 5 or 6. The more boards you see, the more boards you're on, the more positions you see, the more positions you can apply to. So if you're only on one board, you're not going to see enough. Plus, if you tweak the geography or your title or the years of experience, using sales versus business development versus account management versus client services, you're going to see different variations that you can then see new openings and additional openings that you can apply to. Another challenge that people have is their LinkedIn profiles are not updated or optimized. So if I'm a hiring manager or I'm a recruiter, the first thing I do is I read your resume. The second thing I do is I go check you out on LinkedIn, right? And many LinkedIn profiles cause the reader to lose interest in 10 seconds. They don't have a banner image, their headline is not descriptive, they don't have a professional summary, or their LinkedIn photo is unprofessional, right? The rule of thumb is your resume and your LinkedIn profile need to mirror each other with regards to content. Obviously, layout and structure is different on LinkedIn, but the content is the same. And this is important because remember, if I look at your resume and it shows you have a certain position, and I look on your LinkedIn profile and it doesn't have that position, all of a sudden I have questions, I have doubt, I have concerns. Which one is right? Which one is not right? And anything that causes them to pause or have questions, you're done right there. So making sure the first thing is your resume, and then you move the information over into your LinkedIn profile. This is, your LinkedIn headline does not define you. This actually is something I see over and over again, okay? People use the wrong LinkedIn headline. Your LinkedIn headline is supposed to define you. Too many people's headlines put seeking new opportunities, open to new positions, looking for new challenges. So that's true, but that doesn't define you. You are not defined by the fact that you are seeking new opportunities. If you put that in your headline, that's the first thing that they see. You've got, your 3-4 page resume. You condense your 3-4 page resume into your 2-paragraph professional summary, and then you condense your professional summary into a 120-character headline. 20 years of experience, logistics and supply chain, leadership, PMP certification, MBA, budgeting, forecasting, mechanical engineer, SHRM certified. That's who you are. That's what you want to get across, not seeking new opportunities. Number 10, I'm not getting enough job offers. So because of the pandemic, things are moving slowly. And what do I mean by that? So 7, 8, 9 months ago, unemployment was 3.5%, jobs were flowing, companies couldn't hire people fast enough. The problem now is companies are delaying, they're taking longer. So I could apply to a job today. I might hear tomorrow, but I might not hear until next week, or 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, or a month. So you could apply today and you may not hear anything. And a month from now, you may get a call. So the process is taking slower. And some companies are putting in multiple steps in the interview process. So again, let's go back to the basics and the fundamentals. You fix your resume. It now better represents you. You see more jobs to apply to. You physically apply to more jobs, which means you physically get more interviews, which means you get more second interviews, which means you get more job offers. It starts with the fundamentals and moves forward, fixing all these pieces in sequence. So this is a question, and I get a lot. So I don't know what to do if I don't hear back from the company. I went on an interview and they're not calling me back. So this is a definite occurrence, but there are ways, I don't want to say to avoid it, but to turn it around to your benefit. So if you go on an interview, naturally you want to, hear back from them. So I have found that in interviews, if you do not ask a specific question, you do not get a specific answer. So in addition, and we can get into this another time, is about, you need to have questions prepared when you're interviewing. But one of those questions, or near the end of your questions, is, could you please explain to me the hiring process and when you think you'll be making a decision regarding filling this position? Most of the time they will tell you, oh, it'll be a week, or we're going to decide by Friday. So if Friday rolls around and you haven't heard from them, that's your cue to follow up, right? You need to follow up. If you didn't ask that question, you don't know if they, may be hiring next month. So how do you follow up? Basically writing a follow-up message. If I'm in the running for a position and the company is not interested in me, but they haven't told me yet, I would rather know that the answer is no now, rather than wait 2-3 weeks to find out the answer is no. So again, You ask a specific question, you get a specific answer. So the key is when that timeline approaches and passes, you follow up. So right now, we have the issue of end of year and holidays, the difference between, or the time frame between Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? So there's a couple of trains of thought. Between now and the end of the year, it is true that many companies are not posting new job openings. The first and second week of January are the best times of the year to look for work. 3 of the corporate jobs that I have gotten in my life were in the second week of January. So now is the time to start putting all these pieces together so that when the new jobs come online, you are ready. However, if you take a contrarian approach, right, meaning, well, I'm just going to take off from now until the new year because nothing's going to happen. I disagree with that philosophy. So there may be fewer positions posted, but there's also fewer people applying. So there's less competition for these jobs. So don't stop your job search. You may be able to find something by the end of the year because nobody else is looking. Okay. A job search strategy involves basically a pyramid structure and a roadmap. It's your resume, it's your cover letter, it's registering on the job boards, which serve 2 purposes. One is to be found because companies are looking for you, and 2, to set up specific alerts. Titles, geography, years of experience, salary, and specific industry keywords. Then fixing and optimizing and updating your LinkedIn profile. So those are the pieces. Those are the foundational, fundamental pieces of your search. If you don't have all of those, it's going to be much more difficult to get a new job. Those are all the things that you put in place to get to the next step, which is the interviewing step, which is to get requests for interviews. And then it's preparing for those interviews. Jobs are won and lost in interviews. Then the goal is to get an offer letter. The goal of the resume is to get the phone interview. The goal of the phone interview is to get the second interview. The goal of all interviews is to get an offer letter. The goal of the offer letter is to detail the terms and conditions of your employment. So remember also during the interview process, they're not just interviewing you. You're interviewing them, right? Too many people don't ask the right questions. Are you checking out, employee reviews about what employees are writing about the company? Because too many people don't ask the questions, and 3 or 4 months in, they find out it's a horrible place to work. And if they did their homework and they did their research, they would have found it was a horrible place and they wouldn't have taken the job to begin with. Okay? So this is the process, and this is the flow of finding a new job. Okay. I want to talk now about remote work. So 25 years ago, when I started my first company, I worked remote. But back then, they didn't call it remote. They called it telecommuting, and companies frowned upon telecommuting, even clients. You know, if you were in your own company, you're trying to sell, and they're like, can I come by your office? And it's like, well, I work from home. So it had a very negative connotation. People thought you were goofing off. They thought you were doing laundry. But remote work has evolved, right? So it used to be a fad. Then it became a trend. Then it became a movement. And then, you know, 7, 8 months from now, everybody's like, okay, everyone work from home starting tomorrow. So this was a mad rush to remote work. Companies were not set up. They didn't have systems and processes in place, but now they do, right? So now so many people are working remotely. So here's the thing. If you're applying for new positions, if your position doesn't 100% require you to be in person, it's going to be remote for the next 6 months. So the other thing about remote work is if I'm in a city around the country or around the world, you usually put a geographic boundary radius of where you live, 20, 30, 40 miles. This was the old way of looking for jobs. Why? Because you're commuting to work and it can't be more than, you know, an hour, hour and a half, whatever. If you start tapping into remote work, all of a sudden, there is no geographic boundaries or parameters, and you can search nationally. This increases the number of potential positions that you can apply to exponentially, okay? So there are other issues with remote, and, you know, we're not going to get into all of the issues. Some people are not cut out to work remotely. You know, I work in a co-working space in my town, but a lot of people are not really comfortable about going out into public spaces. So it's going to be this way for some time. All right. So I want everybody to kind of pay attention to this slide for a second. It kind of builds on everything that we have been talking about. It's about using all your available tools for your job search. Your resume, cover letters, job board registrations, alerts, LinkedIn profile, company websites, recruiters, your network, your headlines, your summaries, your skills, roles, responsibilities, accomplishments, achievements, your education, certifications, training, phone interviews, in-person interviews, thank you notes, follow-up notes, offer letters, negotiating your offers. Do you have the right technology required to, you know, to do this position? Choosing the right references. Should I look for full-time, part-time, contract, remote? So these are all the things, all building on each other. This is what I mean by a comprehensive job search strategy. Okay. I want to talk now about, before I go on to that, everybody just type in the chat for a second. Is this all making sense? Is everybody probably experiencing some of these challenges? I'm just curious what everybody's thinking. I'm just looking in the chat for people's responses. Okay. So the top 3 secrets of an effective job search. And if there's nothing more that you get, right, from this presentation, it's this. You never know where the job opportunity is going to come from. It could come from somebody finding your resume in the resume database. It could come from you saw an alert, you applied, and you applied from that alert to the positions on one of the job boards. It could be you went to a company's website, a company that you were interested in working for. You went to their website, went to their careers page, and you applied through the careers page. So not all companies post job openings on the job boards, but they do post on their own websites. It also, you may get it from a recruiter. Now, I like recruiters. I used to be a global recruiter, but right now I would put recruiters at the lower end of the list because with so many people out of work, companies are not going to pay 20-25% fees to recruiters with all these millions of people out of work when they could post on a job board for $300 and get hundreds of resumes. So you can include recruiters in this strategy, but I wouldn't place a lot of emphasis on it. The other thing is using your network and your network's network and LinkedIn groups and Facebook groups. And the other thing is, remember, there are published jobs and there are unpublished jobs. So what if you know of a company? Well, you can get in through HR. HR knows what jobs are being offered within the company that are not generally posted. So what's interesting is I went back over the last 6 months of all my clients, and all of the clients found the job opening in a different way. So don't just rely on one method. Rely on all the methods. Okay, makes sense? Found in resume databases, alerts, job boards, recruiters, networks, company websites. Always, always, always. Did I say always? Send thank you and follow-up messages. So when I was a hiring manager and even hiring for my own companies, and I got tons of resumes and I screened the resumes down and then I interviewed all these candidates and then I narrowed it down to 2 candidates. So I liked each of the candidates, okay? I liked them. One of them sent me a thank you note. One of them did not. All things being equal, who do you think I hired? Thank you notes are not just about, hey, thanks for the interview. Thank you notes are about appreciating their time. I enjoyed our discussion. I liked learning more about the company and the position. In the thank you note, if you are interested in this position, you tell them, okay? I am very interested in this position, because if you don't say it, they don't know. I'm very interested in this position. I think I would be a good fit because of 1, 2, 3 reasons, okay? It's another opportunity to sell yourself after the interview has been completed. You want to send a thank you note within 24 hours. You know, in the old days, we used to send handwritten thank you notes. Actually, because of the mail, I don't really recommend that. Send it by email. So always send thank you notes. Jobs are won and lost in the interview. Preparation is key. So let me tell you a story. When I was hiring for positions within my company, candidates would come in, they'd sit at my conference table, and I would ask them a question. And I would always ask every person who ever interviewed with me the same first question. So, what did you learn about us? Who we are and what we do? And in some cases, I see fright on their faces because they hadn't done their homework and they hadn't done their research and they didn't know anything about the company. You could tell somebody spent 5 minutes looking at our website and tried to regurgitate the information on our website. You know, in my day, you didn't have access to this information. We had to go to the library, request an annual report. It had to take weeks. There is absolutely no excuse for not being prepared for interviews. So I actually had one person come in for an interview. I asked them that question and they looked at me and they said, well, you know, I really didn't have time to do any homework or research. I thought I'd learn more about the company during the interview. And I looked at them and I said, you know, I'm sorry, but this interview is over. They were there for 3 minutes. I let them go. There's no way I'm ever going to hire someone like that. So you want to be prepared. Who's the company? What's their products and services? How long have they been in business? You know, if they're publicly traded, what's their financials? What do their reviews look like? What's their press releases and social media look like? Who's the person I'm interviewing with? Where did they go to school? There's no excuse for not being prepared. And if you come across as knowledgeable and able to state stuff in the interview and they see that you have done the research, that's going to set the tone for the rest of the interview. Do your homework. So again, as I said before, you are interviewing them. So if there's something that you don't know about the company that you can't find in the public domain, you ask them. Okay. Okay. So let me ask everyone a couple questions. We'll take a break for a second. So do me a favor, type in the chat. Is this all making sense? Does everybody really understand now what's involved in being successful in your job search? So it's the strategy, you know, the key is in the details and being able to execute that strategy and what you put in each of these levels of your search. Okay. Everybody's writing. I'm just pausing for a second to look in the chat. Making sense. Everybody is typing. Everybody's getting in the right direction. Everybody's getting on board. Excellent. Okay. Next question. With all these components of a job search strategy, for my purposes and also for the other purposes on the call who are looking in the chat, type in the chat where you think you need the most help. Where do you think your search is faltering and floundering? I'm interested to hear what everybody says about their search. So please, just, I'm interested. Let me know what's your greatest challenge? Resume writing, networking, getting past the gatekeepers. Yeah, gatekeepers being the HR generalist on the phone interview, understanding the job boards, writing a compelling resume, interviews. Resumes are not as good as they could be. Revisiting resumes and LinkedIn profile. So it's interesting that most of you are having problems because you didn't put together the fundamental foundational pieces. All right. Everyone on this call is in different cities and different countries. everybody's situation is different. I'm interested to hear how long many of you have been out of work. Did you get laid off last week? Have you been out for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year? How long have you guys been looking for work? Okay, I'm just going through the chat. A month, a year, a few weeks, 7 months, just past month, 6 months ago, several years ago, been on furlough, that's a recurring theme, 2 months. Some people are employed, but they're looking for another job. Some have been out of work since March, so 6, 7 months. A month and a half since March. Okay. So based upon what I spoke about, and I spoke about, the pieces of a comprehensive job search, knowing a little bit about what you know now after, a while on this presentation, how would you rate your own job search on a scale of 1 to 10? How would you rate yourself? 1, like awful, 10 being awesome. Well, what does everybody say about their own search? A 2, a 3, a 7, a 1, an 8, a 9, awesome, a 6, a 7, a 5. Okay, so an 8, many of you are not alone. If your search is not a 9 or a 10, you are not doing enough. An okay search strategy in this market, in this economy, is not going to cut it, okay? You have to outperform, outdo, outrepresent, out-apply, and out-interview everyone else who's applying to these jobs. They're worried about their families. How many of you are feeling overwhelmed and a little frustrated with your search? Type in the chat. I want to see what everybody's thinking and what everybody's feeling. I know it's frustrating applying and not hearing back. I know it's frustrating not getting job offers. Okay. Many of us are frustrated. We're concerned. People are unprofessional. They're moving too slow in the process. I mean, totally. I get it, right? Hold on. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me now? Hold on. Hold on, trying to get you back. Hit reconnect and it works. Okay. So, when I was looking for work, I was in many of the same situations you guys are in. When I got my first job, right, I walked the streets. But I ended up getting the job through a recruiter. For my next job at Reed Publishing, I found it through a classified ad in the paper. When I worked at Jacobs Engineering, I got it through a recruiter, but actually I started as a temp, right? I came in at this really, really low level. So don't think that just because you can't land that awesome job that you can't start as a temp. I started as a temp and I ended up being there for 5 years. So don't discount temp, contract, part-time. I worked at Ryder System, the transportation and logistics company in Miami. I also started as a temp. 3 months later, they made me permanent. 5 years later, I was still there. I formed an international language translation and interpreting firm. I hired and onboarded 3,000 translators in 50 countries. I ultimately founded and sold the company. I found these people in all different places, all over the world. I then ran an international staffing and recruiting company. I ran it for 6 years. We sourced locally in about 100 countries. People wanted to work for me. They had to make themselves available so I can find them. And then my current company, Global Expansion, you can see just from this call alone, there's 20 countries represented. Half our clients are in the United States and half our clients are around the world. So everyone's in a different phase or stage of their job search, but everyone can still follow the different components and avenues available to find the job. So even after all this length of time and all these years, being on 100 interviews, hiring hundreds of people around the world, being a recruiter, placing around the world, and reading 500,000 resumes. So I want to help you, right? So I've been thinking, for the last kind of few years, I've been thinking about ways to help job seekers, right? So I can show you a way to put all of this together. This presentation has been great. I loved interacting. The feedback has been wonderful. I can see from the chat that there's lots of value. People are excited about the information. I can see that you're enjoying this. So I want to ask a question, a serious question. If you want to take this further, if you really want to learn everything there is to know that I have to teach you about job search, then I'm really excited to talk about my latest program. I've been working on it for over a year. I'd love to tell you about it now. Is it okay with you if I tell you about my new program? Can you guys type in the chat for a second? I'm interested to see if people are interested in our new program. Yes, interested. Awesome. Okay, so I have put together a way to help you develop a comprehensive job search strategy and get more job offers. How do we do that, right? So I decided after I've been involved in job search for 35 years, when I first started, there was no process set up to put a search together. We looked in the newspapers, right? So no one had a comprehensive approach. I thought, well, wait a second. A year ago, I said, I've been on 100 interviews. I've been a hiring manager, hiring hundreds. I've been a global recruiter, placing hundreds more around the world. I've looked at 500,000 resumes. So what I did was I formed this company to help job seekers find their next job. I do one-on-one coaching. I've helped hundreds of people one-on-one in the past several years, right? I said, well, wait a second. I can take all this information I learned from all these one-on-one coaches and people, coaching sessions, all these people in different industries and different levels and years of experience, to put a course together, right? A course that condenses 35 years of experience into manageable step-by-step strategies. So I spent the entire year putting this course together. The key is it allows you to manage your entire job search entirely on your own. So it approaches and attacks each of the components of your job search. There are many, many different modules in this program. We have a module specifically on resumes, strategy, styles, the sections of resumes, what's the proper length, how to write a professional summary, examples and samples of professional summaries, how to represent your key skills, your accomplishments, achievements, education and technology. You know, cover letters are interesting. Should I do them? Should I not do them? What's the benefit? We go into why they matter, who reads them, how to make the best use of them, and how to get them to stand out. I have a whole module on LinkedIn for job seekers, not just regular LinkedIn. It's LinkedIn for job seekers. We get into the strategy of LinkedIn for looking for a job. All the different profile sections. How do you round them out? How do you insert your titles and keywords into different strategic places within the profile so that when someone's searching for you, you come up? We have a whole module on the job boards. There's a whole strategy and philosophy about the job boards. You know, I've taken hundreds of hours of training. I understand the boards as an applicant, a hiring manager, and a recruiter. How do you set up alerts? Out of all these hundreds of boards, which are the best, right? How to set up time frame settings so that you see jobs as they're posted online every day. As I spoke about earlier in the presentation, we go into an entire section just on interviewing, how to prepare for phone interviews, in-person interviews. I got sample thank you notes and follow-up notes. Just drop your information into the templates, right? And of course, the other portions of job search, offer letters of employment. Are you an entrepreneur that wants to go back to a career position? Are you, working but you'd like to start your own company? We discuss about that as well. I also get in detail about references, about choosing the right references, how to choose them, what to ask of them. References can make or break your ability to get a new role as well. I get into a whole section on remote work, and a lot of people are thinking right now, well, there's no positions in my state, should I relocate? So we're talking completely about the aspects of relocation. So a few of the things that I want to get across is, by the end of this course, you're going to have an awesome freaking resume. It's going to get you in the top 5%, okay? Your LinkedIn profile is going to give readers a great feel of who you are, what you've done, what you're looking to do. Which job board should you be on? There are many. We show you which ones. You're going to see more jobs to apply to because you're now looking in the right place. You're going to get more invitations to interview. The more interviews you go on, the more job offers you're going to get. And you're going to learn how to better prepare for these interviews. As I said, jobs are won and lost in the interview prep. And the ultimate, you're going to get more job offers. Okay, so there are resume writers out there. There are job search coaches out there. So why is this course different? Because it's got an exceptional level of content. It's got 35 years of experience in job search as an applicant, a hiring manager, and recruiter, all in one place, okay? Every single component of what we discussed about putting a comprehensive job search strategy is included. Dozens of these little techniques and mechanics and strategy. The success is in the details, okay? You don't need to guess, is this strategy going to work? Is this form going to work? We know what works and what doesn't because we've been doing this for years. Every single module is packed with great information. Ask my one-on-one coaching clients. Hundreds of coaching clients. I've taken all of the best information and put it into this course. The other thing is, there's no trial and error to see what works and what doesn't. You can save over 100 hours of time. So here are some people that have actually enrolled in the class. Monica is interesting. She was looking for a position as the director of HR. And one of the problems she was having was she didn't know how to quantify her experience. She's like, I'm HR. There's no metrics. There's no quantity, qualifications of quantifying. And I said, well, wait a minute. Yes, there is. You know, were you involved in benefits? Were you able to cut premiums or cut costs? Were you able to change deductibles? Were you able to get greater salaries? Were you able to implement new HRIS systems? Did you cut down on recruiting times? Did you increase employee retention? So all of these metrics were missing from her resume. She put those in, she got some interviews, and she ended up getting a job. Okay, who's this course for? Okay, it's not for everybody. I get that, right? But if you've been laid off from your job, this is going to get you back to work faster. Your new resume is going to better show your background, experience, and the types of positions you're looking for. You're going to get more interviews, and you're never going to blow another interview again. Your LinkedIn profile is unprofessional and not optimized? Not anymore. Okay, which job board should I be on? Focus on the best. Forget the rest. Not getting job offers? More job offers are going to start coming in. So you could be a college graduate with a year or two experience. You could have 30 years of experience. You could be in New York City, Bismarck, North Dakota, Paris, France, or Melbourne, Australia. It doesn't matter. This course can help you. If you don't have the money to hire a personal coach like myself, we give you the same knowledge to do it all on your own. So Marcus was interesting. Marcus was having a problem where he's like, Ken, I'm looking for finance jobs. And I'm not seeing enough jobs to apply to. So what he learned, what he gathered from the course was because he set up the different variations on his alerts, because he started looking on multiple job boards, because he went to different company websites and applied to more positions. And then he actually was looking remotely. He saw more jobs to apply for. He applied to more jobs, and he got a job as the manager of finance. Okay, so how do you value a course like this, right? You get to manage your entire job search on your own. You don't need to hire a coach, a consultant, or a resume writer. You don't need to test what works and what doesn't. You just follow the steps. You're going to get dozens of job search tips you can immediately implement all in one place. We give you so many tools, guides, samples, templates, ebooks, white papers, saving you hundreds of hours of work. And the value is getting a job faster and for a greater salary. You're going to get audio and video of all 60 slides. You can listen from anywhere like you would a podcast. You can be out on the trail and listening to the course. And you're going to get a 7-day full money back guarantee. If you feel the course is not for you after 7 days, you let me know, show me you tried, and I will give you a full refund. The value of this course, of all this knowledge and all this experience, is $1,997. It's a proven roadmap, taking all the best of all of the people that I have worked with over the years, step by step, no trial and error. We got so much uncertainty in this job market right now. It's going to help you navigate that. My focus is on strategy, tactics, and mechanics of search with examples, templates, and guides put together from hundreds of one-on-one coaching sessions. So people say, I'm the job search guy. So job search, guys, job search is what I do. It's the only thing I do. And honestly, I do it very well. Now, over the last several years, I have written tremendous number of articles and guides and books and white papers on job search. We're throwing in absolutely free all of these guides and ebooks, a 25-page job search survival guide, 100 action-based keywords that you can use on your resume, sample LinkedIn headline guides. Just like drop yours in and you've got a killer headline. 25 ways that you can jumpstart your search right now. 10 tips for maximizing the job boards, how to get your resume to pass the 10-second test, the importance of using your right references, cover letters, do they really matter, how to write sample, thank you, and follow-up notes, specific examples and guides. Just drop your information in. And as another bonus, we're giving you access to our private Facebook group, our Global Jobs and Careers Facebook group, where we're going to have weekly Facebook Live. So everybody who joins the course, you have questions about the course. Each week, we're going to conduct live sessions, and we're going to go over live Q&A. Don't you want to save 100 hours of your time? If you took this course, this is a 3-hour course, start to finish without stopping. You went through 3 hours, you could put all this stuff together in 1 week. The value of all this information, all these guides, ebooks, white papers, bonuses, is over $2,000. So I was thinking what to charge for this course. So the value of the course itself is $1,997. The value of the bonuses is over $2,000. The real value of this course is $3,997. But I'm not going to charge you $3,997. Although it's worth every penny, it's even worth half of that, right? What could I charge that makes it affordable and accessible to everybody to help them with their search? So what I decided to do was take that $39.97, cut it in half. And then I decided to cut it in half again. And then I decided to cut it in half again. And then I cut it some more. We're charging $297 for all of this, okay? You could get started on your job search course right now for under $300 and have a plan in place within a week. What I want to do is I want to open this up right now. You can see on the right-hand side, there is a button. It says enroll now. You can enroll right now in this course, or you can go to globalexpansion.net/join to get started right now for under $300. Put a comprehensive strategy together and manage your entire search on your own. You know, I really want to explain to you about this woman, Haley, who purchased this course. And her problem was that she was sending out so many resumes and not getting responses. She was getting so frustrated, right? She was looking for a marketing position. She was great at marketing, but she was not great at marketing herself, which is an interesting component I see in many people with marketing backgrounds, right? So the course showed her how to fix her resume. The course showed her how to see more jobs to apply to, how to get targeted for specific kinds of marketing. She ended up getting a job as the digital marketing manager. You can get started today. Enroll today, enroll now, globalexpansion.net/join. And as I said before, we're going to give you a full money back guarantee. You're going to get 7 days to test drive this job search course, right? If it's not for you, we'll give you a refund. If you reach out within 7 days, I'll give you your money back. So basically, you've got nothing to lose to get started. The other thing I wanted to do was kind of really make this really available payments of $175. But if you do the one-time payment, it's only $297. You're going to save 15%. globalexpansion.net/join or hit the enroll now button to get started. Okay, lastly, I want to end one more with Robert. Robert's a mechanical engineer. He was looking for a mechanical engineering position. His strategy was just so disjointed, scattered approach, no putting together the pieces. It was taking him months and months and months. He went through the course. He implemented everything. Within 2 weeks, he started getting calls for interview. Within 2 more weeks, he had a job as a mechanical engineer. All right, I want to give you some perspective for a second. If you went to my website right now, the price of the course would be $397. But because you invested in this workshop, we're only charging $297, which is 25% off. If you wanted to hire me as a personal one-on-one coach, we would charge you up to $3,000. If you wanted just to go to a professional resume writer, you would spend $300. But here you're getting the entire course. It puts everything you could possibly need about job search in one place. And really, it's going to give you the confidence to manage your entire job search completely on your own. So right now, you've got a couple of choices to make. I was looking in the chat. I saw people been out of work for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year. You could spend 100 hours trying to research all this stuff, but we've done all the work for you. You say, well, I'm too busy to take the course. You can take it at your own pace. You can do step by step, section by section. the course is affordable. And even if you want to split it into two, you can do that too. You know, my searches have not been successful. There are no jobs out there. You know, you're frustrated. I get that. But here's a way to turn that around. And this is not complicated. Just follow the steps, okay? So I want to open it up for some questions. I see in the chat there were many questions during the course of the presentation. I'm going to keep the card open for a while, and you can go to globalexpansion.net/join or click on the Enroll Now button to get started. Let me go through some of the questions that people have. Feel free. I'm going to stay on for anybody that has questions either about the course, either about job search, interviewing, any questions you may have. I'd be more than happy. Okay. You know, people ask about, okay, one of the questions people have is about the job boards. So there are obviously dozens of job boards. There are the main ones, obviously, LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster. Some of the job boards that used to be popular many years ago are no longer popular. The latter's really not. There are industry-specific boards, whether you're in food service or education or finance or engineering. And of course, if you're in technology, then DICE is also a good board to be on. All right, hold on a minute. Let's see. I got some more questions. Someone says, well, I'm on LinkedIn. Isn't that enough? The answer is no. So you may see certain, you know, finance, accounting, maybe HR positions, but some of the other boards have more engineering positions or more marketing positions or more sales and business development positions. Every single board is different. That's why you need to be on all five. People say they've been waiting and waiting and waiting. You know, honestly, guys, the phone is not just going to ring. And there's not going to be this magical call that says, hey, Ken, I have a job for you. You cannot wait for the phone to ring. You have to make the phone ring. And in making the phone ring, you do that by putting all of these pieces together for your search. For under $300 on a course that's valued at $4,000, you could be up and running within the week. Go to globalexpansion.net/join or hit the Enroll Now button to get started. I see people that have been unemployed for so long. This is how you get started. Follow the steps. Follow the process. Oh, somebody asked about referrals and, you know, using your network. You know, in a perfect economy, I would say yes. But now I would kind of put that at the lower end. Companies don't want to get unsolicited resumes. There's too many people out of work. There's nothing that they can do with those resumes. And if it waits 6 months, you know, before they start hiring again, they're going to start looking for new people and they're not going to go back to their resume database. Okay? The goal is to see as many jobs to apply to and apply to as many jobs as possible. Who's posting the jobs? That's who's hiring. That's where you should look. People said, should I have different versions of my resume? So the answer is yes and no. When I was looking for a job as an HR executive people would look at my resume and they would say, well, you're an HR guy, you're an accounting finance guy, you're an entrepreneur, an international person, and a recruiter. Who are you? So people see all these things on your resume and they can't figure out who you are. So if you're going to do HR and you're going to do finance, you need 2 resumes. If you're going to do operations and business development, you need 2 resumes. Otherwise, you need to reframe your background and your resume to gear more towards the position that you are seeking. Remember, your resume cannot be, your strategy cannot be a 4, 5, or 6. It needs to be a 9 or a 10. You're competing with all these people, okay? Now, somebody asked a question about international markets. So I have clients in South Africa. I have clients in the Middle East. I have clients in Malaysia, Germany, France, Spain, Japan. The strategy and philosophy is still the same, okay? It may differ depending upon the job boards and where you see them, but the foundational pieces are the same. So it doesn't really matter where you're located. Remember, as I mentioned, I've been doing international for 25 years. A lot of the one-on-one coaching I have is from international clients. Okay. Listen, I see there's still a bunch of people on the call. What's holding you back from getting started? What's a question you have that I can answer that will help you, make a decision? Everything that I discussed, all the things that are included, any concerns, I'm here. Ask me any questions that you have. Okay, I'm going through some more of the questions. Somebody asked, you interviewed with, if you have their email address, you include them. If it's a recruiter or a hiring manager, a lot of times they will forward it to the other people on the interview that were on the interview. Okay. Going through some more questions. I'm here. Guys, ask me any questions. This is the absolute best time of the year to put the pieces together for your search. New jobs are coming online within a few weeks. You definitely want to be ready. Okay. So, all right, I'm going to wrap up. Let me just open some things up here, put on my camera. Okay, everybody. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today from all over the world, right? I was really excited about this information. I see we had some excellent feedback. This course can really help. I know we're struggling. I know we're frustrated. I know we're scared. But if you can put this stuff together, you're going to get a better job. And you're going to get it faster than everybody else because nobody has all the knowledge in one place, basically, to help you move forward. So again, go to globalexpansion.net/join. Click the Enroll Now button. If you have any questions, you're going to get the replay within a few hours. There'll be a link to watch the full replay.